Hello. Well, I've received a few questions about how to store all of one's Escort or EXP literature. Well, there's no round way to do it. Whatever works works. But boy, if you're someone like me, you will have quite the collection of literature, and this isn't even all of it. This is just my main shelf. This is the one that has all my wiring diagrams up top here. And I don't even have all of them yet, but I do have most of them. I need all the ones that I need. And we'll slowly get the ones that you guys need. And I have a selection of generic repair manuals, more repair manuals, owner's manuals. We have price guides for all the window stickers I do. More repair manuals, factory ones. It's really nice. All the factory ones are the same exact size except for these vacuum electrical troubleshooting books, and of course the wiring diagrams are all crazy size. But all of my like Chiltons and Haynes, I just keep them inside these plastic magazine holders. They fit decent together. Plus, I can fit almost all of them inside one. But otherwise, I try keeping these guys for the little stuff. Like there's no good way of stacking these on a bookshelf, because any bookshelf you need for these, they got to be 10 inches thick or better. So putting these dinky little 3-inch pamphlets inside them, they're not going to keep to themselves all that great. Same with these owner's manuals, only about 3 inches across. You know, there's limitations to how you can store those effectively. So I find things like these quite handy for those. But for the average guy, they're probably not going to have a price book for every single year of 80s Fords. But you might have your car's owner's manual, and then the price guide for your year with all of your options circled on it, because that's kind of cool. It's kind of like having a window sticker, but you can see what everything else cost. You know, if your car, instead of having the a sunroof and no AC, maybe it didn't have the sunroof but did have factory AC instead, you know what the different cost was. It's pretty interesting stuff. Maybe nothing anyone's gonna be checking out your house for, but it's pretty neat stuff. So service manuals, like I said, they're for the most part all the same size. Even some of these oddballs, like this 82 preliminary shop manual for EXPs and L7s. This is kind of the book for when an EXP arrives at your dealer, what you need to be doing to it so it's ready to go out on the lot. And then just normal service manuals, things like the turbo supplement. There might even have been a diesel supplement. I can't remember. And that's kind of all, it's the same size of all the other books. That way they can all just sit on a shelf together. These wiring troubleshooting books I talked about earlier, they're all the same size. Sadly, they're horizontal instead of vertical, like these books. But it's up to you. If you wanted to hang these vertical, you could. I just don't do it because if there's not enough books on your shelf to keep these upright, whenever they lean just a little bit, all your pages are going to get wonky as they try waving because the weight's pushing down on them. So I just leave them standing upright as much as possible. Helps cure that. And I got a book full of things like pamphlets from car shows and stuff I've been to. Some of my prototype window stickers for some of my cars, some of other people's cars, paint chips, things like that. And I just put them in binder sleeves, normal 3-ring binder sleeves, and then I put them in here. But that's only where I can keep my 8.5 by 11s. This is a binder I use for all the big dogs. So this would be pretty much all the car brochures. And it fits pretty much all of them. Sadly, these guys are kind of hard to find. These are considered scrapbook binders, three-ring binder scrapbooks, and they're usually padded, and no matter how you get these, they're never cheap. This black binder alone was like $27. They usually run from $25 to $40 a pop. So just try to get the biggest one you can, because having two of these is not cost effective whatsoever. And you can see that I'm barely fitting all my stuff in here, but you guys, for the most part, aren't going to have enough literature to cover 50 different types of cars. For you, it's probably just going to be your one car, and any others that you'd be interested in. But for me, this is only my EXP Escort binder. You see I got 81s at Escort and Books, 82 EXPs, a bunch of them. In fact, I even have duplicates, so I keep them in the same sleeves. 83 Escorts, more EXPs. I got them all sorted by year. I even got the 84 stuff is real funny. You get these kind of odd sized pamphlet things that aren't thick at all. There's hardly any content inside of them. And then when you get to 85 and a half, they suddenly go horizontal, and that's a pain in the butt. That's the difference between needing normal 8.5 by 11 sleeves to having to go with these extra large scrapbooking sleeves. These guys are, I think, 12 across and 14 high, or maybe they're 14 by 14. I'm pretty sure they're just 12 by 12. But to fit a 12 by 12 thing of paper, these might be 12.5 by 12.5. And then we get to 86, and oh crud, they're neither. Not only are they wide, they're almost 12 inches wide. I believe they're 11 wide, but they're also 11 tall. So it's an 11 by 11 square. Well, now suddenly you need these 12 by 12 sleeves, and just like the scrapbook, the sleeves are advertised for scrapbooks, so that's kind of the only way you can find them. They're not all that affordable. And shucks, 87's the same way. Here, I even got this weird 82 L 7 book, which is I think 10 by 10. Very odd size. And we got a 11 by 8.5. A slightly smaller insert from an L7. But we'll keep going for it. I don't want to show you all of these. That's not the point. But I wanted to show you different ways of displaying some of this unique stuff. So large sleeves are a great way of displaying or not necessarily displaying, but storing your books. You see, I don't only have EXP books in here, but I do have an 80s Ford, a Rogue 80s Ford book or two. But it's mostly the EXPs and L7s, and storing these were tricky until I had found these sleeves. These sleeves are they're what I'd call envelope sleeves, but they're for if you had a 8.5 by 11 vertical and you folded it 3 ways vertically, each one of these sheets would fit your trifold. So you'd fit one trifold, 2 trifolds, and it stinks obviously there's room for a third trifold, but most binders are only for 8.5 by 11 sheets. So finding these in scrapbook form, at the 12 inches across, it'd be pretty difficult. I looked and I looked and I looked and I couldn't find squat. For the most part, they were vertical and they weren't big enough. I mean, they were exactly the dimensions I'd need, or just slightly smaller. And that was so that they could fit like dollars, American bills, or checks. That's what we'd call the checkbook size. And that was not going to be big enough for these, because what these color books, what they are is 8.5 by 11 this way, and then they're tri-folded horizontally. And you'll see that when you open up one of these. You open up one of these, it's a 8.5 by 11 that's tri-folded horizontally. So it's a little annoying that I have them vertical like this because they're supposed to be horizontal. And if they were horizontal, boy, it would look real pretty if I had 1, 2, 3. But no one makes them for scrapbook size. So sadly, I'm stuck with a compromise there. But then we get to these accessory books, and these are half the size of your normal sheets. A normal size is 8.5 by 11, so that's why I got 2 of these in the 8.5 by 11 sheet. But each one of these is only, I think, 4.25 inches tall. Yeah, because that way 2 of them would add up to 8.5. So they're each only 4.25 tall. That means they fit into one whole normal sleeve. Perfect. And they do have ones that will have 2 pockets. But again, these, because the pocket occupies a little bit of space and they didn't make the sleeves bigger around the edge, so you can't actually fit these in here. So stuck compromising. We're putting in 2 per 8.5 11 sheet for now. Gets us through. I even have things like this EXP marketing manual, and while it would fit better up on the shelf with my shop manuals, because that's exactly the size and it's rather thick, it's not for that. This is more along the lines of my sales brochures and catalogs, so it should really be with the other ones. Since it's so thick, well, there's no way it was going to fit in an 8.5 by 11. Had to put it in the big sleeve. Coloring books, boy, they're an odd size too. I think they're a little bit bigger than 8.5 by 11. And they're horizontal, so they have to go in the big piece to be splayed horizontally. That's right. I even ended up with this Taunus coloring book. And it's not just the Taunus, it's got a number of other European Fords. It's just the one that they have featured on the front, and it's heavy European. There's nothing North America in here. I don't even know if there's anything outside of Europe in here, but pretty neat book that I got from a friend, a viewer, fellow EXP owner. And then plenty of empty sheets for when I come across more literature. Because I don't expect to find more of these brochures in normal catalogs. But I do hope to find more of these exterior color books. And more of these accessory books, which are really neat. You pop these open and it shows plenty of accessories and different colors and configurations you could get for each of your cars. And if I've run across one of these for an 81 Escort, I would love to find more of these. That would be spectacular for each of my Escorts and EXPs, because these are really good books. And then, of course, the coloring books. These are really hard to find. I'm only aware of this, as far as North America goes, I'm only aware of this one, and it's for 84, maybe 85. I'm pretty sure it's just 84. But really cool stuff. That's why I'm holding on to so many extra sleeves, just in case. I'm hoping I can fill this someday with all of the brochures and other kind of what I'd say is dealership or showroom literature. It's only the things that you'd find inside the showroom or the lounge of a 80s Ford dealer that I can fit in there. But that's more or less how to be storing all this kind of stuff. And like I said, there's no runway, but these are some big tips that I have for people. Storing these wiring diagrams, they can really be a chore. For the most part, they have these lot of little hole punches on the end because they were made for kind of like what you'd find in a school notebook, where it's like a whole bunch of steel coil, and that's your binding or instead of 3-ring binding, it's that. So you could make something like that for these, and that's perfectly fine. You could do that quite affordably too, but some of them are hole punched. Some of them are 3-hole punch, but they're so crazy tall. You can see that this one for 1987, it's a good 18 inches tall. That's not going to fit in squat unless you lay it sideways, but then you have to take it out of your binder or whatever just to open it up. A lot of hassle. But do keep an eye out. This year I'll slowly be converting a lot of this stuff into PDF form, and then you'll be able to view it for free through my Google Drive link that I'll have in the description of this video. And some of these manuals I actually already have in PDF form, and you'll find them there. And things like the sales catalogs. Some of these you can actually view on Ford's Heritage website. And it's a spectacular service. It's free for anybody. You can even download all of these, but you can see them in fantastic full color through their website. Like I said, you can download them for free, and they have almost every catalog they've ever had. There's not much that they're missing. As far as EXPs and escorts go, the only things that they don't have are things like that EXP marketing guide, and they have some coloring books depending what you're looking for, but they don't have everything yet. Once in a while they add to it, but anywho, I just wanted to quickly show ways of showing off your stuff, or I shouldn't say showing off, but storing it. And I will put links in the descriptions for some binder sleeve sizes. Because like I said, finding this stuff really difficult. That was quite the chore. But when they showed up, boy, I was thrilled to actually have all my catalogs in one safe place together, and they're actually all sleeved. So I'm not staring at a stack of these things that are getting dusty, fading from the light, getting touched a bunch, wearing out the ink on the outsides, wearing the bindings, things like that. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know. If you have a piece of literature that I don't have, let me know. I'm buying this stuff all the time. And if you see something that you want to have a physical copy of, there's plenty of each of these on eBay. That's kind of the only way you'll get any of these physically. Like I said, you can view some of this stuff digitally, but to physically have it, it's going to cost you a little bit of money. But for the most part, the stuff's always like $2 to $20 a pop. At that kind of price, we'll just click ship. But I'll let you guys go, and yeah, have a good one.